What's up, bookworms? Welcome to episode 149 of the Cantina Book Club podcast, where readers can find interviews with authors of all genres. I am Megan, your Cantina Queen, here to bring you insights from the authors themselves. Each week features a Cantina conversation with an author, sometimes they're returning guests, and sometimes it's someone new. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button so that you never miss out on an episode, and feel free to browse through existing episodes so that you could catch a previous interview about a book that you finished. Today's episode features a chat with Dara Levan talking about her book, Shaken to the Core. That book is available now. Really meaningful chat with Dara talking about some of the more important things in life, some of the serious things that happen in life, and how she kind of navigates those themes when she incorporates them to her stories. So now some spoilers may or may not pop up in these conversations, but this episode is more enjoyable if you've read the book anyway. So if you don't know why I'm kind of giggling at our differences in definition of what spicy romance is, then hit pause, add this episode to your playlist, and go pick up a copy of Shaken to the Core. This interview will be ready when you are. Just a heads up that I often use adult language to express my feelings towards these authors and their work, and because of the subject matter and the nature of the seriousness of it, just please be mindful of your comfort level and around listening ears. And without further ado, get ready, grab your favorite drink. Here is Dara. So today we've got Dara Levan. We're talking about Shaken to the Core, her book that comes out on June 23rd. Dara, thank you so much for joining me today. Just finished this book, fresh in my brain. It was, I felt like I knew what to expect, but then it was just like you took us there. You took your character there. Her journey is really heartfelt. Lots to discuss. I'm happy to dig in a little bit deeper with you today.
Thank you, first of all, for having me and for taking the time to read my book, because as an author, you never know who you're reaching. So it means so much. If I know that I'm reaching one person, then I'm grateful.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and honestly, I always just try to make a point to read before I speak to you because it just makes such a better conversation. And like I said before, that it was like if you make me feel things, then I get to like yell at you about it. So I just
okay, I'm sure you felt things with this one, so let the yelling come out.
yeah. There was a lot going on. Like a lot for one person, I should say. So yeah, to get started, that being said, can you okay, and I'll also provide follow. So if you want to give a summary of the book so that people can follow along with the conversation.
Sure. So I know summaries can be boring, and so here's what I'll say. Would you like a quick summary or a more detailed one?
I
Or something
so
in the middle?
for like a social media clip.
Okay, gotcha. So this is a story about a woman in her late 30s named Joy, and she's from Miami, and she and her husband Andre move to the mountains of Vermont because they want to get away from the glitz and glam of South Florida, or so we think. The story opens with the sudden death of her mother, which obviously shakes her to her core. But then her husband receives devastating news that upends their perfectly curated life. And shortly thereafter, she discovers her mom's old camp diary, and an entry from the 80s from her mom's teenage self inspires a decision that changes the trajectory of her entire life. Shaken to the Core is about how we can choose how our own story ends and how motherhood and mothering transcend biology. It asks the deepest question, and the most profound question it asks is, what do we do with the time we have left? We all are going to exit the planet at some point. So having these losses that she experiences, not just the loss of her mother, not just the loss of the life she thought she knew and had, there's a different kind of grief in just becoming.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to say it, like exiting the planet. I love that's because throughout the whole book, she had a hard time saying that word of a death, dying. She couldn't say it, and it was just like that was one of the things where it's kind of like helps you maybe connect to the reader a little bit. Like anybody who suffered that, like somebody who that, like yeah, loss of a parent is just it's on a different level, and she's trying to deal with that, and then it's like other life things happen to her and we're very close to her where it definitely affects her life and it's yeah I remember reading parts of it where she like it's like she saw these signs and then all of a sudden this happened like she saw these signs and she made such big moves and she her husband was
on the fence a little bit, but then he eventually became supportive, and then this thing happens, and there's that guilt, right? So,
Yeah, I
there's a
mean,
lot of good stuff to unpack he
yeah,
yeah, it's just
and in my personal experience, for sure, the grief I've had a lot of loss, and sometimes we don't have time to grieve, and I hope one of the messages in the book for the reader is that we have to make time to care for ourselves, our loved ones, but even
absolutely.
more importantly, that no matter what life throws at us, that we can and will find the reserves, the resilience necessary to pivot. And that, like you said, something else was thrown at her and it was pretty big. And that's been my experience too on a personal level. It's grief doesn't come in a nice little Hallmark card or a nice little perfect package.
No, it would be nice if it did, but it just comes like grief is just like it comes in waves, it'll hit you when you least expect it, it's different for
Mhm.
everybody, and I feel like grief, it doesn't get, like, easier or softer, I think we just become better at dealing with it. Like, it's still hard, but we just become better at coping or figuring it out,
Or
and
not.
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
I think it's
exactly.
so circumstantial. I'll tell you one thing for sure that gets me. Our grandmother was 98 when she passed, and everyone said, "Oh, but she had such a good life." I still miss her. To me, it's
Yeah,
not the length of your life, it's the life you've lived,
yeah.
right? So,
It's like, yeah, she had, like, a full life, but you're still like that everybody in her circle were not ready, like, when
are we ever ready?
yeah, no, we're not. We're always like, even if we get, like, a warning of it, if we know our family member has been diagnosed with something, it's
Mhm.
still we're, like, holding on, and we're still, like even if we get a warning, we're still not ready, and it's yeah, it's a whole lot. It's, like, a lot of human experience, and you take us there, and we're gonna unpack this shit. You could swear, you can drink, you can do whatever. We're
Yeah.
gonna do it. So, one of the first things I like to ask, I see that you got a handful of books under your belt. And so I kind of want to like explore your background. What made you bring Shaken to the Core into the world? How did this experience with this book differ from what you've already experienced? Stuff like that.
As a writer or as a human being or both? Because 'Cause they're kind of
Whatever
related.
whatever however you wanna answer that question.
So I live in the shades of gray, so I know that was a specific question, but I tend to answer in a more robust sort of gestalt way. So my
Don't worry about
first book, which is intimately related, is It Could Be Worse. And this is Allegra's story. Shaken to the Core is Joy's story, Allegra's daughter. Yes. So let's just say that all of my readers were like, you should have warned me that you're killing her off. Like, how could you do that to me? I am like dying. And it was very hard to say goodbye to Allegra, but she doesn't really leave, does she? That's part of the point of Shaken to the
Wait, you're
Core.
saying yeah, Allegra was her mom.
Yes, this is Allegra's
Okay,
story.
now I gotta read. Now I
So,
gotta add that to the TBR.
oh, thank you. I think you might
Okay.
love it. It takes place in Miami. Allegra's husband, Benito, is Jewish Cuban Jubin, which I talk about a lot because I'm from Miami.
That is hilarious. I love that, the Jubin.
Oh
I
my gosh,
love
it's
that.
a Miami thing, and I talked about it. And so Allegra and Benito are Joy's parents, Joy, who's the main character protagonist of Shaken to the Core. So answering your question, I didn't feel like the story was done. And
Mm.
in the first book, It Could Be Worse, Allegra was born into a very abusive family. She broke the cycle of generational narcissistic abuse. She was a therapist. And so Joy is a
I
very
was gonna say
healthy,
now her profession makes sense, like, because that's what Joy remarked on a lot, was
yeah.
like, "Oh, mom, you would be laughing at me," or like, "Oh, your words take me there, like,
And the
they stick with
journaling, like
me."
she's a
Yeah.
photographer. Joy was way more comfortable than her mother being behind the lens. Very, I hope you found her to be very introspective and a strong woman, just more quietly strong.
Oh, she has so many inner monologues, it's like any response, like, immediate, like, response to anything her husband did, what she was dealing with,
Mhm.
she was like, so many comments where she was just like, "Mom, I could have punched him." I'm
Right,
like, "Yeah, we've all been there, right?"
right? And, what I love to write about with all of my work, fiction and nonfiction, is the messiness of life, the in between. So this was very much inspired, shaken to the core, about my husband's mother's sudden death just before our wedding. And I had
Oh,
to grow up
yikes.
very quickly. I had to tell him. That was 26 years ago. And I was only in my early 20s. And so I poured that grief. I was resurrecting a lot that I had buried. and it was really hard. But I think there's something very specific and very gutting about a sudden loss because I've had all types. I've had the older people that pass naturally. I've had way too many people in our family and friend circle that have died of cancer recently as I've had neurologic things, and then the sudden. And I have to tell you, it shook us to our core. And I feel that we could have fallen apart. We got married
Yeah.
6 months later, and I wanted to explore that
Yeah.
not only emotional truth, because this isn't my story. I'm not a photographer. I have children, on and
You
on.
found a way to kinda, like, maybe a little therapeutic, try to, like, maybe feed some of kinda use it as, like, a little bit of an outlet.
And what I really hope is that this gives brings comfort to people that are grieving in all types, not just sudden loss, but
Yeah.
there's loss like a divorce, there's loss of, it could be a job, loss of a friendship. There's so many levels, and I think that,
Of loss, yeah.
yeah, so to me, it's like, but ultimately, it's a really uplifting story. It's like, it's our decision what we decide to do with it. So we have life circumstances. We could sit there and wallow in it. We could say, poor me. And what I love is that Joy's really real about it. She grieves, she feels it all, but she also has these amazing moments with her best friend Mel, this jeweler who's a multi generational Vermonter, where the story takes place.
I think we all need a Mel,
Right?
like, we
Isn't
all
she
like
awesome?
she's a fun bestie, yeah.
I love Mel. Oh my gosh. I love her so much. And I think we all need a mirror, right? She'll also say, listen, you're not telling the story.
She's like, "You're not fooling me, like, I know what's up, I could tell by your
Exactly.
silence, I could tell by your hesitance," and then she knew that Joy was maybe the type of person who just needed a little coaxing, like, "Girl, come on, like,
Let's
let
do
me
this.
know, tell me,
Right?
I know you have something to share." It's
And don't we
yeah,
all have those moments? And again, it doesn't just have to be grief. I think that
mm-mm. It's like excitement, like new adventures or new, like, huge, s potentially big, but also, like, anxiety-inducing projects, like,
it
and
was
it
a
was
risk.
like
It was scary.
yeah,
It was
yeah,
scary. And I've always been of the belief that when something really scares you, go for it. But that's not the belief of many people. I realize that. And she
yeah,
went for it, even though her husband was doubting her, understandably, even though she was becoming an early caregiver, unexpected, even
yeah.
though she still hadn't grieved her mother. And the blessings that came with this risk she took, it literally took on a life of its own.
Yeah. And I also like I love what you kinda did with, like, the in-laws where that's a delicate balance,
Mhm.
where it's like you love the in-laws, but you're like, "Dude, like,
You're gonna really
chill
come.
out, like, stay in your lane, like, don't it"
And they
no,
really meant
it's
well, like, Carmen and Carlos are
yeah,
awesome, they're such beautiful souls,
yeah.
just like I tell my kids, like, "You eat too much broccoli, it makes you sick." So, like, just 'cause somebody's intentions are good, sometimes they're not reading the room,
You're
and
like,
that's
"I don't think that's what I need right now," but it's, like,
right.
hard to say that. It's like
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
and they come from
It
such a place of love, as many people do, and again, going back to grief, some people get really uncomfortable with that. They don't know what to do, sometimes they say nothing. Sometimes they say the wrong thing. And I've learned on a personal level, and it's hard to ask for what you need. And also
yeah.
sometimes to know the people maybe you don't want to be around or share with, not because you don't adore them and love them, but maybe their capacity is not,
Yeah, like,
you know,
you're not in the headspace to handle that. I say deal with it because it's like, no, it's like, that's nothing to deal with. It's just
mm,
like that I'm not in that I don't have what I need to do this right now.
yeah. Oops.
And I think like that like years of therapy and everything, that's how I've learned to articulate it. Like to my husband especially because I'm like I'm in like I'm 39, I don't care who knows, but I have had depression since I could recognize it. I was like I told my mom like something's not right at like age 13.
That's amazing.
Like I know, and I'm so impressed with I don't remember this by the way. It was my mom who told me. And like and then I'm also so grateful that she was like, "Okay, let's figure this out." Because 'Cause I'm like, my mom's Mexican, and she didn't grow up in a culture that was, like, open to that, and for her to be like, "Okay, like, let's do something about it, let's figure it out." And it took a long time. I was in and out of therapy, in and out of medication, and or on and off of medication, and it took a long time, but now I've finally got that special sauce where, like, if there's ever a trigger, I it doesn't last nearly as long, and I can just ride it out instead of it being super debilitating. But yeah, it's like that's why I'm kinda like I related to her in that way where it's just kinda like or just like anybody in a situation where there's something that happens and they're like
Mm.
they have to either kinda just be self-aware and take care of themselves, but also, like, I feel for the people who aren't there. But it's like also it's like that's what I was getting at was like being able to articulate, like, "I just don't have the tools I need for this." And that should be it is enough, right? Like, to explain. Just be like, "I don't," but again, it's hard to be like, I can't be there at, like, your father's birthday," or, "I can't handle your mom coming to stay with us for
Mhm.
2 weeks,"
And she
because I
doesn't wanna
don't
disappoint her
yeah,
husband, right? And she doesn't, so it's a delicate balance, and she loves her in-laws. It's not like they're toxic, they're
yeah.
great people. And culturally speaking, so you're back
Oh,
again, they're Colombian. I have tons of friends that are, excuse me, and I love representing that like I did in the first book,
yeah.
because I think culturally too, that's important. I was a speech pathologist before I went back to full-time writing. So I try and weave that into my novels. In the first book, It Could Be Worse, Allegra's a stutterer, but by the end, she's not. So in this book, there's a neurologic
Oh,
thing that happens,
wow.
and there's a child or two that may or may not be in the spectrum. I don't label it as such, but I really try and weave that into my writing
Like,
because
recognize the, like, symptoms
you
and
know, it
yeah.
is. I feel like I don't see a lot of that in fiction personally, where
Okay.
specifically it's getting more and more common and popular, for lack of a better word. And I almost hate the word representation because it almost feels so, hey, let me just sprinkle it in.
Maybe like a mechanical, like a almost little like, "Oh, I wanna insert this in here."
And I,
Where it's not organic, like
yeah, and I
yeah.
hope that when you read the book that it felt just part of who the person is, not all of who they are. It was,
With, like, one of the one girls, yeah, she, like and she suspected it, but she tried really hard to connect with her and
and they did eventually,
based on yeah,
you know,
I
and
don't
I
know,
think,
that was so cute.
and Joy found her voice. That was part of the a big thing about voice. Joy wasn't quite shy. Her husband Andre is the oldest of five, and he's somewhat controlling. Not, and I hate to use that word because he's not controlling in some sort of abusive or terrible way. He's
No,
very
he's
big.
just like he's control, like,
Yes,
he's like
he's an
he
architect.
knows things, yeah.
I
He
mean,
can calculate them, yeah.
and so,
No, I know, I'm married to an engineer, I
oh, there
know.
you go. Oh, you totally get it. Boom.
So when I was like, "Andre," I was like, "Poor dude, poor guy." Yeah,
And
like, I
it's
get
sad
it.
because
It's he's shaken to his core. He's
exactly.
dealing with a lot that he's not ready for,
And
and
there was so much growth I feel for them as a couple, but especially for Joy because she had to step out from behind the lens and really use her voice when he couldn't use his.
yeah.
And that's hard.
Yeah. It is, especially when she just, like I love that they just seem, like, just in love as they were from years ago, like, they still find each other, like, absolutely attractive and, like, just can't keep their hands off each other sometimes, and I love that, but also, it's also, like, they are what's the nice way to say it? Like, not childless, but child-free, like, they don't have any children, and that's another thing that you made them deal with. So
I made them deal with. I'm so sorry, Joy and Andre. My apologies.
Yeah, I guess
Well,
it's
it's
like
funny
but,
you say that because as an author, seriously, I'm not kidding. I found this with my first book as well. I felt so bad. I'm like, I am going to take you for a ride, girlfriend. I am so sorry, but because honestly, what makes a story? If everything's just perfect and simple, you don't have a story. And honestly,
no, so you gotta throw shit at them
and it's
and
not
yeah.
life, right? Have you ever gone through an entire year where nothing's gone wrong? That's not reality. And to me, yes, it's
Mhm.
fiction, but I really want my readers to feel empowered and in the moment. And I want them to cry with joy and I want them to laugh with joy. And I want them to, one interview I had recently, she said, whew, some of those scenes were so spicy. And
They weren't though.
I don't know,
Well,
the
like,
person
I
that
read
said that
romance
was
with
like, woo.
spice, where yours was, like, it glossed over, it was, like, soft or I don't know what they call it, like, closed door or fade to black, but it was just kinda like, even when we were with them, we kinda like before I knew it, was like, "Oh, they're done." 'Cause I've read, like, the whole, like, I don't know, it's a wide spectrum,
For
right?
sure.
Where, like, you get
Mhm,
or romantic scenes, I should say, where
mhm.
it's like, you know what's happening, but then there's also the other end where it's like, oh, you know where the hands and mouths are, and you're with them, like, every step of the way, and I appreciate all of it. I appreciate,
Mhm.
like, I feel like if I'm gonna read smut, if I'm gonna read smutty scenes or the intimate scenes, I still need some plot. I still need it to
Yeah.
serve a purpose, and I understand some readers, they don't need that. They don't want it. They just wanna read hot attraction, tension, sex, all that, and, like, I get it. It's fine. There's like, different strokes. I'm not gonna yuck anybody's
Oh,
yum,
well,
but for
hold
me
on.
per
Different strokes? Wait, was that a pun on purpose? I'm just
yes. Yes. Like, "Ayo." But yeah, no, like, that's where I was like, for you to say that, like, it was spicy, I feel like it was bell pepper. It was just like, we're kinda like we were leading up to it where he, like, puts her on the counter, he's just like he's making his moves, or she's making her moves, but then
Mhm.
it's like, you kinda just gloss over it, and then and I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." Like, they're done.
It
Okay,
wasn't
okay.
caliente, no, it was more
Nope.
like
Yeah,
mild,
like,
a little mild
yeah,
tomato.
yeah, like, what's the equivalent of that? Yeah, like,
I
that's why I
wasn't
said just
quite
bell pepper. It's not chili pepper, it's bell pepper, because
it's bell
you
pepper,
know.
not jalapeno, right? Like,
Yeah, no, correct. Yep,
fair,
yep.
alright. I get his perspective, but I like what you were going you said something very interesting, and I think about that a lot as a writer. So for me, the sex scenes or the intimacy or to me, a kiss can be the hottest thing in the world, even more so, I feel, when written or even cinematically when you're watching a show
Yeah.
than even the actual act of intercourse. I really do. I think I've read some I forgot what book it was recently, and oh my god, it was the most like I think I wouldn't say it was erotic, but it was really gorgeous, and I was there with them when they were kissing.
You felt like, "Dude, should I turn away? Like, should I
Right, exactly.
am I intruding on, like,
It's like part of
on
me.
these
Can I all get a room?
fictional characters?" Yeah.
So I hope that feeling came through also, and the reason being for me, I think it's really important, just like representation. It shouldn't be gratuitous. It shouldn't be just there's sex for the sake of sex,
Yeah,
or there's a Latino character or a Jewish character in my case, or whatever, just for the sake of it. It needs to really mean something. And
yeah,
so for me, the sex scenes here or the intimate scenes or whatever, I'm trying to show joy as a wife not only as a possible, maybe unexpected caregiver, but also as she's still attracted to and attracted by her gorgeous husband in spite and
there's still
despite of
those parts
everything they're
of
going
her.
through. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, like, for me, that was really important. That's why I didn't
'Cause what
want
age are they? Are they also, like, in
their
their
late
late
30s.
or mid? Yeah,
And
yeah,
he
yeah,
turns
yeah, yeah.
40. And so,
And that can be, like, when some couples are just, like, over it, like, they're
exactly,
it's a struggle. Yeah, yeah.
exactly. And I feel like also going back to grief and loss, it can make you feel funky things. Some people get like really turned on, some people get really turned off,
Yeah, like
right?
there's just
It's
this
hard.
perspective of life is short, or, like, the mood is just, like, you can't see it that way,
Well,
and
speaking
yeah.
of depression, there was a moment, I don't wanna give too much away, but I was really feeling it when I wrote it, where she cried after they had an intimate moment. And sometimes there's that release when you're really intimate with somebody. It can even be like your best friend and they just say something and all of a sudden this floodgates open in a
Yeah.
beautiful way too, where sometimes we don't realize we're holding, right? And that could be in our
That
womb.
definitely came through, like, she was even like, "I didn't even know this was coming," and she's like, "I couldn't stop it," and they just came.
Yeah, and then and I feel like you said, the waves, and I tried to write the book as well in seasons. So the 4 seasons were very symbolic of her own seasons in her healing, in her marriage, in her new project that was amazing and kinda helped heal her, really.
The dog was also a part of that where she was like, "I understand her frustration." Like, for me, I'm a dog person. I'd be like, "Wait, why didn't you take me shopping? Why
Right.
did you name this dog without me?" But, like, I feel like there's also a part of me that would have been like, "Oh my god, like, a new dog, and yes, Maple's perfect," and, I cut it out, but still, I was like, "The name is perfect," and I just
So
yeah, but I totally understood where she was just like, "Are you kidding me?" And then
well,
she
that's
kinda
what I
like,
was kind of
the
alluding
dog won her over, like
what happened to I was alluding to earlier. Poor Andre, he's trying to show up in the way he can and knows how to, and he thought that this was such a romantic, kind gesture, and it was, but timing is everything, right? Like,
yeah, yeah.
it's kind of like why I called the first book "It Could Be Worse." That's the most invalidating statement. At the same time, it is true. I have friends
Yeah.
going through chemo right
Yeah.
now, and
Oh, I
yet
love that word. It is, like, invalidating.
right?
Like, it could be unintentionally invalidating.
Yes,
Like
and so I was trying to kinda carry that thread also where not one character in there had any malintent, like when Carmen comes for Hanukkah and gives her a certain gifts or it was so beautiful and kind, but oh my gosh, was it a trigger for Joy. And she meant it,
understandably.
right?
And they were just trying to, like, be there for her thinking
Right.
she needed that.
Mhm.
But then she didn't I think I don't know if she would've realized it until she was in that situation.
Right.
Like, I don't if they left her alone, I don't know if she would have realized it as strongly as if they were there, and
Mhm.
then she was like, "No, I definitely don't need this right now." Even with, like, the dog, Andre, like, he it was well thought out because he, like, apparently he did his research.
It was so
He's
kind.
been yeah, he's wanted to make sure it was right,
Mhm.
and I'm just like, I understand Joy, but at the same time, I'm like, you're even before she did, I was like, "You're gonna be one of those memes where it's like, oh, the dad that never wanted a cat, like, with his cat." She was just like she was her like, the dog was the running buddy, the dog was like, "Oh, hey, okay, you wanna come out? Alright." Like, she was really impressed that she was, like, listening, and then she kind of noticed her little, like, nuances, little tells
Mhm.
where she was like, "Really? Do you really understand what I'm saying?" Like, I don't know. I'm like a dog lover. My dog, she's, like,
Same.
12 years old. Yeah, and then I grew up with dogs. And so that's why I was like, "Oh, yay," but also, like, I get it. But also, like, you kinda just signed your emotions away because like, this dog is gonna have you wrapped around her little finger, like,
She was so delicious, right? She's very much inspired by my dog. I have 2 golden
"Oh, yay."
and,
Are they, like, younger ones?
one's 3 and one's 6, and
Okay.
I've always felt that animals are so healing in general. That's why
Oh my
also,
god.
the camp in the book, there's a lot of animals. So there's a big animal this book is really for animal lovers also. I really feel like animals are so healing, and I feel like they really understand the nuances. They feel things sometimes, and they also see I feel like
They
right?
pick up on a lot.
And they see with their hearts. Like, I feel like, for instance, speaking of depression or children that may or may not be a little different or neurodivergent, there's such acceptance with animals. It's unconditional love. And
They don't see your depression or they don't see your mood, they just see you.
exactly.
They see how you are in that moment, and then
Yeah.
they see you come back and they're like, "Oh, hey, it's you again." Like, and even if they do pick up on something that's off, they respond so simply and so accordingly. Like, I just remember one of my childhood dogs, I just remember, like it's a core memory, like, I sat down and, like, started crying about something, and my
Mhm.
dog, she sat down with me
Mhm.
and, like, even kinda, like, made sure that she was making physical contact, like, with her paw, and I was like, "I don't care what anybody says, like, dogs know a lot more." I'm not gonna say animals in general, but dogs, from
Yes,
what my experience was
same.
just
I feel
like
so similarly.
yeah.
My dog, my Melody, my smaller one, we just moved, and I was all of a sudden just hit. So I raised my children, and I was hysterical. And not Augie, the one that this book is based on or inspired by. Melody, it turns out, it's really the sensitive one. She doesn't come across that way. She took her whole body. It was beautiful. She's a bigger golden doodle, so like 50-50, like medium. And she pushed into my side almost like a weighted blanket.
Oh,
And I was having
she's like, "Hey."
she felt, yeah, she's like, "I'm here. It's gonna be okay, mom." And so I
Oh,
was trying the dog in the book to eventually that grew into that. The dog became a
the
re
dog would pick up on everything, and then
and really
it
important,
would be that, yeah.
one of the main characters, I feel, toward the end.
Oh, yeah. I don't care even if the dog's a side character, it's one of the main characters. Like, I love talking to authors about it where they're like, I'll ask like, "Oh, was there any surprises that you had while, like, developing your story, writing your book?" And they're like, "I did not plan for my character to be a dog owner, but the dog came in
Mhm,
and they wouldn't leave, and it just seemed perfect, it seemed right." So I love that part of it where it's just discovering things that your characters are telling you that
mhm.
maybe you didn't plan for, but if a dog's involved, I'm like 100% like, "Yes."
And for me personally, I've been told, I didn't realize, but I tend to really love writing about food and setting, like, those become almost a character too, like the
Oh, I
camp.
know, you were, like, all like, you gave, like, really specific, little details about, like, the egg whites or, like, the spinach or, like, the and I'm like, "Oh god," like, it's so funny because she's like, she just knew what to expect with what her husband was making, and I would be so grateful for it, but at the same time, I'd be like, "Can I get, like, some hot sauce?" Because 'Cause I'm like, I've had egg whites and kale, I've had, like, spinach and tomato, whatever, and I'm like, "I just need a little something," like,
Hang on, so
I'm
there's
sure
a
you're used
theme
to that
here.
too.
I think there's a theme here. You want hotter sex scenes, hotter food, and you live in Chicago, you should be moving to Florida, everything's hot here.
I'm Chicago, but yes, but Chicago is also I feel like I'm kinda spoiled with food. There's a lot of
Oh,
good
it's so
food
good.
scene around here.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love
Yeah,
so good.
absolutely. No, that is also one of my favorite because my friend one of my best, like, really good friends from high school, she lives in Tampa, so when we could
Uh,
visit her, we're like, "Where do we go?" Like, and so it's yeah, it's just like you have a certain expectation, like, I'm expecting to hit, like, these spots, and if
right.
not, like, I have a certain bar
I
to,
get it.
like
No,
yeah.
Chicago has some of the best food in the world. I hear you.
It is, I know,
Hands
'cause I like, I'll go visit people in, like, Michigan or whatever,
down. You're
and,
like, "What is this?"
like yeah, and then, like, it's really funny 'cause my cousin was like, "I don't think you realize how spoiled you are," like 'cause I'm like, "What do you mean I can't they don't have this or they don't have that?" I think it was just, like, one restaurant where it was like, yeah, their basics was, like, cheeseburgers or chicken sandwiches and fries, but it was like you couldn't it was just, like, their limitations. It's like, you're gonna get fries no matter what, you can order something else, but you can't substitute it, and I'm like, "Why?" And my cousin was like, "You're not in Chicago." Like, and it was just something as simple as that. It's like, "No, can you just, like, don't waste your fries, just
Right.
give me this instead," but they didn't like, they would not hear of it. I was like, I didn't understand. So, yeah, I love it. Okay, thinking of Joy, Andre, Dave, the camp guy, and let's go with, like, Carmen. The thinking of all the characters in the book. Which character would you go to if you needed to plan a party?
Oh, Mel, without a doubt. I love that question. No one's ever asked that before. That's so fun, and I love planning parties, by the way.
Yeah, I was like I it's like, after doing this for so long, I try to come up with more fun things and make you think a little bit.
I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, and which character would you go to if you needed to prep for a first date?
Oh, I love that too. I guess Mel also, but I think for a party, maybe I would also go to Carmen, her mother-in-law. I think she'd plan a really good party. It'd be, like, really
You
festive.
mean first date?
No, going back to your earlier question, I would say
Okay,
Mel
okay.
or Carmen. Carmen,
Yeah, Mel or Carmen, I get that,
right?
yeah.
First date for
First
sure,
date,
Mel. Yeah,
yeah.
best friend and
She'd be like, "Don't wear that." She'd be like, "You got this, girl," or kick him to the curb. She
totally, totally.
hype you up. And then, what character would you go to if you had to hide a body?
Oh, definitely Mel or the attorney Bill. I think he'd be also
Yeah.
like a father figure. He's only there very briefly, but I think he's really the thing is
He's
though,
about the
Bill, the attorney might say, "I'm not I'll give you a friend who can hide the body and I'll know where it's buried, but I'm not
and
burying
he's
it.
like, I was never a part of
I will
this."
not
Like,
get a
he like
caucus. You can call me, you could be the one call when you're in jail."
That's hilarious. That's so true. That's so funny. I love it was just like Mel. Like perfect. Okay, so specifically Andre and Mel, and then yeah, sure, let's go with the lawyer Bill, right? Which one of the 4 of those or no, and Dave, so 5 of those, who rank them in a hot wings challenge? Like how far would they get? Who would win?
Oh, fun. I love that. Okay. Kinda like the hot dog challenge, but hot wings?
Hot Wings, there's like a Hot Ones show where he interviews celebrities and
I'm
they
telling
have
you,
like a 10,
you love
10 hot
spice. There is a thing here. I think you have to call this cantina like something else, like caliente.
anyway.
I think we have to rebrand this, but that's another so hot wings. So who you mean from like most mild to spiciest?
Yeah, like if it was like maybe if there was like 6
6.
sauces.
Okay.
Yeah, would make it to number 6 who would
Oh,
only
I think hands down Dave. I do. He's like
he's like
solid.
it's so funny how, like, you described it where Audrey was she was like, "What, is he jealous?" But then Dave was like she described him, I'm like, "No, that still sounds like really oh, he's rugged and he wears flannel and he's got a beard," and it's like, "That's not helping, girl." Like, Joy,
Exactly.
you're not Joy, that still sounds very appealing. I don't think Andre feels better about
Right,
that, like
exactly. That's a good point.
it was perfect.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh my gosh. Poor Andre.
So, like, the hot wings but who would the rest of them rank? Like,
Oh,
who like,
so
how far would Joy get? How far would
okay.
Andre get?
I
How
think
far would
Joy's
Mel
more
get?
like maybe like a 2 or a 3. Andre, I
They'd
think
be able to make it, like, the mild, and she'd be like, "No, I'm good," like,
yeah, she'd be
yeah.
like, "It's fine, it tastes fine." I think also I wouldn't say she's a pleaser, but I think she's very adaptable. I think that's why she and Andre work because he can be more rigid and,
Yeah.
he's the oldest. And Andre, I think it would be my or like a machismo thing. Like he'd have to be like, "Yeah, I got this," even if he
Yeah,
was like
prove something.
everything like going all over the face and like
Sweating,
crying and spitting.
having a hard time,
Yeah,
his
yeah.
mouth is on fire,
He would
like,
be like,
yeah.
"No, I'm gonna still do this." So I think he and Dave would for sure go all the way. You asked Carmen? I think
Mel.
Carmen could go a
Yeah,
little further.
Carmen and also yeah, Carmen, throw her in there, but Mel too.
Oh, Mel also is allspice, like, maybe like a
Challenged,
5, like, almost there.
competitive
Yeah,
a
yes,
little bit. Yeah.
but with fun, like, not, like,
She's like, "I'm not
nasty.
gonna I'm not gonna, like, hate myself," like
Yeah, I think for her, she'd be like, "Why not?" For her, she's more like she's kinda laid back, so not so much competitive, but it's a new experience, let me just try it, and I think that's why she's good for Mel.
Yeah.
Dave also, I think they're both a good sort of, like, grounding and also why not? So I
Like,
think
Joy doesn't have to worry about how she's acting with them.
and she sh and right,
She
and
could
she
be
shouldn't.
herself,
Yeah, totally,
and they're just like, "It's all good, girl." Like,
right?
yeah, I love that she has people in her life. I love that,
I think we
for
all need
sure.
that.
Okay, just a couple more questions. I wanna be respectful of your time, but also get this out there. I'm gonna throw it at you. What
Ready
advice
ready
would
to
you
go.
get
Let's go.
What advice would you give to Joy? What advice would you give to Andre? And what advice would you give to the dog?
Oh, I love that. But what anything it could be any sort
Just
of
anything
advice?
or yeah, following the spoiler free,
Okay,
but at the end of the book, maybe.
okay. What advice would I give to Joy? That this will pass. The deep sorrow, the grief, she wouldn't get depressed, but the waves, she will she'll rise above the waves, even though she might feel like she's drowning at times. The other piece of advice I give to her is, girl, go for it. Believe in yourself. You have so much wisdom and strength, which she does discover and ultimately does extraordinarily well and thrives. To Andre, I'd say, I think you have to take a beat. I know how hard what you're going through is for you. I would say, but you got to really not just like hear your wife, but you need to see her. And for the dog, I'd say just keep giving those puppy kisses. You're so delicious. I
Like, you could do no wrong. You could do no wrong.
I don't care when you piddle
Keep
on the
doing what you're
floor,
doing.
right? Make a mess. You're bringing so much light into this home that is so needed, and Joy's name is not an accident.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Okay, so Dara Levan, where can we find you online and on social media?
Oh, thank you. My website's one of the best places, daralevan.com, Darale.
I'm sorry,
That's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
No worries at all.
I asked you and you told me, my bad.
Oh, it's okay. I respond to anything as long as it's kind. So daralevan.com. I'm quite active on Instagram. It's dara.levan. I'm also on Substack. I'd love if you check that out. It's my podcast name, Every Soul Has a Story. And I
Perfect.
love connecting with readers. So thank you for asking. I try to respond to every single text and email and DM. So thank
Yeah, yeah, it could be a lot, but I honestly and, like, a lot to keep up with, but I'm just like, "Hey," like, I know that I might private message you a month from now and being like, "You're gonna get a bunch of notifications from me," and also, like, so I get it, I love that, I love 'cause it'll help you get your name out there. Real quick, are you working on anything that you could talk about, next project, stuff like that?
I am working on a lot in my head. I have my next 2 books in my head. I keep thinking about them, and I'd love to talk about it, but they're not quite crystallized yet. They're in the cocoon phase.
Yeah.
So,
I love that. I love that metaphor. You're like, they're cooking, they're not ready to be finished cooking. Like,
yeah.
yeah, I get it. I love it. So, Dara Levan.
Yes.
Okay, Dara Levan, Shake It to the Core, that comes out on Tuesday. So by the time this interview comes out, it will already out, ready for you to read. Thank you so much for joining me, for your answers, for your vulnerability, authenticity, all that good stuff. I love it. And if and when you're ready to chat again, let me know. I'd
Thank
love to have you
you.
back.
Thank you so much for having me. This was such a delight. I appreciate you.
And there you go. That was Dara Levan talking about her book, Shaken to the Core. That book is available now. Check out the show notes to see links where you can find Dara online and on social media and where to purchase the book. In the show notes, you'll also see where to find Cantina Book Club on your favorite social media book communities, such as Bookstagram, Book Talk, BookTube, Threads, Facebook, and more. And I would so appreciate it if you could hit that follow or subscribe button so that you never miss out on book reviews and author interviews. If you have any book-loving friends who are looking to get more out of their reading lists, please share Cantina Book Club with them so that they can find upcoming releases and interviews with authors. In the show notes, you'll see Another way to help this podcast is to head over to your favorite podcast player and give Cantina Book Club a rating and review. It helps me to reach more potential listeners and fellow book lovers like you. And that goes for any podcast you listen to. It's one of the easiest ways you could do to help out. If you need book recommendations, you can reach out to me. I'm always looking forward to suggestions of pretty much any genre that you're looking for. If you need more in-depth reviews, look at cantinabookclub.com and subscribe by entering your email on the website so that you could get new reviews and episodes delivered directly to your inbox. If you want to support Cantina Book Club even more, you can donate by finding the form on cantinabookclub.com. Whether it's a one-time donation or as little as $1 a month, I seriously appreciate the support and will share my appreciation by giving you a shout out on the show. And finally, one of the best ways to help authors promote their works is to head over to Amazon, Goodreads, BookBub, Storygraph, wherever you rate your books. A title that you love, give them some love, show your authors some love, and it really helps them promote their works. It helps the platform support their works, and so that they can keep writing stories that you love. Thanks so much for listening, and see you next time. Cheers.